on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now.
Good morning. My name is Kathleen, and next to me is Gay. We are here to read to you. Thank you for tuning in to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. We invite you to listen to our broadcast both live and on demand. Our live sessions are available on the Blind Community Thrift Store YouTube channel, Monday to Friday between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. each week. Additionally, you can access on-demand content through the Audio Reader Network, which offers a wide range of audio materials for the visually impaired community. To explore content from the Audio Reader Network, please visit www.reader.ku.edu. The site provides details about accessing content via Amazon Alexa, Audio Reader Network mobile app, and information on receiving an audio to listen to the broadcasts by KSMU. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio.
Our first article this morning comes from the Springfield Daily Citizen, written by Jack McGee. Springfield transportation planners allocate $1 million for study of 60-65 interchange. The stakeholders along Route 60 are optimistic that the study signals potential adjustments to MoDOT's plan for this corridor. The first part of the article shows a picture, which is actually a drone view of Route 60 near the intersection of Farm Road 189. The photo was provided to the Springfield Daily Citizen by Bruce Steedham. In the wake of recent pushback against plans to eliminate an all-grade crossing along Route 60 between routes 65 and J and NN, the Ozarks Transportation Organization is preparing to conduct an access and operational study of the road network near and including the 60-65 interchange. As of its November 20th meeting, the OTO's Board of Directors approved several measures related to the study, including an intergovernmental cooperative agreement with the Missouri Department of Transportation, the City of Springfield, City Utilities, and Greene County. In total, the 5 entities are pooling $1 million for the study, with $800,000 in federal funds. MoDOT and the city are each providing $300,000. OTE is putting up $200,000, and CU and Greene County are each providing $100,000. Sarah Fields, executive director of the OTO, said the final cost of the study could vary. This could very well come in at $500,000, or it could come in at more, Fields said at the meeting. That's our best guess, so we'll deal with that as it comes. We'll know more after we select the consultant. We will go into a fee and scope negotiation, and then we'll have a determined price. Project proposes to limit access from the interchange at J and NN. Although the agreement is still awaiting approval by the other organizations involved, OTO has already issued a request for qualifications with hopes to begin the study in the first quarter of 2026 and have it completed by October or November of next year. While the study is intended to encompass portions of both 60 and 65, stakeholders are particularly focused on the stretch of 60 between 65 and J and NN, which MoDOT plans to convert to a freeway. Through Springfield, Route 66 is also known as James River Freeway. The freeway status effectively terminates just east of 65. The eastward extension of the freeway is intended to improve both the operation and safety of the corridor, which is currently over volume and has extremely high crash rates, according to Fields. With the project, MoDOT plans to remove all at-grade driveways and intersections along 60 between 65 and J and NN and build 2 outer roads that would run parallel to the 60 and the intersection with the existing driveways and crossroads. This includes Highland Springs Boulevard, Farm Road 189, and Farm Road 193. The only access to and from 60 would be at an interchange at J and NN, which would connect the outer roads. MoDOT is also planning to improve vertical and horizontal curves along the same stretch of 60. While a letting date has yet to be provided, MoDOT anticipates construction to begin in the summer of 2029 and may extend past the summer of 2031, depending on final plans and the work involved. The project is fully funded in fiscal year 2029 of the statewide Transportation Improvement Program. However, the study could prove and prompt changes to the project, potentially including an additional interchange between 65 and J and NN. While it remains unclear where the interchange might be located, area stakeholders have advocated for access at Highland Springs Boulevard and Farm Road 189. In recent months, MoDOT has received considerable feedback on the project from nearby residents, property owners, and other stakeholders concerned with the proposed access changes, including Atrium Hospitality, which owns the Highland Springs Country Club, and unsold lots within Highland Springs subdivision. In March, Spencer Fame attorney Richard Walters, representing Atrium, advised MoDOT that removing the Highland Springs access would violate a 1988 direct access agreement between the late John Q. Hammonds, who developed Highland Springs, and the Missouri Highway and Transportation Commission, which governs MoDOT. Walters wrote that the Atrium has real property interest in the existing access point, and its removal would require MoDOT to pay substantial taking damages to Atrium and likely other property owners in the Highland Spring development. Given the proposed takings and violation of the direct access agreement and the substantial damages that would result to Atrium and other Highland Springs property owners as a result thereof, Atrium feels that it is in the best interest of all that MoDOT pursue alternative designs that maintain the Highland Springs development direct access to the highway, the letter reads in part. Most recently in August, the Highland Springs Community Association and a group of property owners, business leaders, and other stakeholders, along with Route 60 corridor, sent 2 letters of opposition, both of which were provided to the Daily Citizen by Tyler Paget, lead pastor at the Courageous Church, which has a satellite campus off 60 on Farm Road 189. The Highland Springs Community Association's letter, accompanied by a petition with more than 250 signatures, encourages MoDOT to engage with the neighborhood to evaluate alternative solutions that balance traffic and safety needs without disproportionately harming local property owners and businesses. The other letter, which names 11 stakeholders, includes Paget, calls on decision makers to reject or significantly reverse the proposed access changes and instead pursue an alternative that protects both public safety and economic health. Limiting access solely to Highway J will not make our community safer. Instead, it will undermine the economic vitality of Rogersville and Springfield, the letter reads in part. The remedy is not restricting access, but rather providing a better designed exit and improve access points that serve both safety and commerce. Paget has been particularly outspoken in his opposition to the project, as it is currently proposed, detailing his concerns on a website titled Do Better MoDOT. However, Paget said he is very excited about the study planned for the 60-65 interchange, which he hopes will yield changes to the freeway project. I feel like a ton of good progress has been made, and I'm looking forward to seeing what will come of it, Paget told the Springfield Daily Citizen. I think they've seen the potential and they've seen the reality of the need for Springfield to have a way to expand and to have a future in Southeast Springfield. While supportive of safety improvements along 60, including the closure of some at-grade crossings, Paget has advocated for MoDOT to add another interchange between 65 and J&NN, either at Farm Road 189 or Highland Springs Boulevard. I'm all for frontage roads they want to do, and I think this is probably a good idea, but cutting off the exit potential for the whole area all the way down to Highway J is a bad idea, and I think they've realized that. Removing access to 60, 65, and J and NN would only increase travel time for residents and patrons of local businesses, Paget said, but would also restrict access of more than 1,500 acres currently under development surrounding the 60-65 interchange, which is widely regarded as a key to Springfield's future growth. Part of the vision is laid out in the Lake Springfield Plan, a major redevelopment initiative for the 1,000-acre land packages which surrounds Lake Springfield, which is owned by City Utilities. City Utility owns an additional 300-plus acres surrounding 60-65 interchange at the Childress Family LP, and Childress Families LP owns 600 acres north of 60. Brad Van Voser, president of the Citizens Bank of Rogersville, which also has a location at 60 and Farm Road 189, said he was cautiously confident that the study could yield a much better workable solution than the one that is currently proposed. The study will continue, and hopefully new decisions will be made.
This next article is from the 417 magazine. The title, How Empower Ability Volunteers Make Dining Out Accessible. Learn how to empower ability volunteers are making dining out more accessible through the Restaurant Access Points program. This is written by Tessa Cooper. Restaurants are special places. Eating out is an opportunity to connect others, and a good meal leaves you full and a bit happier. That's why Empower Ability's Restaurant Access Points program, known as the RAP, exists to help remove barriers that people with disabilities face when navigating, ordering, and eating at restaurants. The organization created RAP in response to someone who shared their personal experience of visiting local restaurants that weren't accessible as they thought. This program trains local volunteers to conduct secret shopper-style evaluations of Springfield, Missouri restaurants from an accessibility standpoint. After enjoying a meal, each volunteer fills out a survey based on their experience. This survey focuses on the accessibility of the parking lot, entrance, inside of the building and tables, restaurants, and customer service. Then, another volunteer or staff member at Empower Abilities to review the survey and contacts the business. Depending on the responses, the restaurant will receive recommendations on how to make its establishment more accessible. Restaurants that pass or make necessary changes receive a RAP decal they can display. This has been such an eye-opening experience for me, says Cherry Montgomery, RAP volunteer. According to Montgomery, a lot of the reports reveal minor needed corrections, like lowering the soap dispenser in the bathroom to be more wheelchair accessible, remove damaged rugs that are potential tripping hazard, or altering lighting for people with vision impairments. It is about working with the business to help them not only understand how removing the barrier can help people at their establishment, but it also just makes our community at large more accessible, says Shelby Butler, Director of Advocacy and Public Policy. Local businesses like Long's Asian Diner, the Habino's Cafe on Delmar Street, Van Gogh's Eatery, and Georgia Max are all RAP certified, and the lease is getting longer and bigger by the day. To see a list of RAP certified businesses or to apply to become a secret shopper, visit rapapp.org.
Are you a coffee drinker? If you are, this one might be for you. From the Springfield Daily Citizen, Inside the Battlefield Business, Roasting Coffee from 11 Countries by Zoe McIntyre. Sean Hunsaker, a self-described coffee addict, first bought a coffee shop for something to do when he moved to Nixa. I like working. I like producing things. I like making things, he said. The first business, The Coffee Rush, lasted until 2008. The shop came with a small coffee roaster, which had never been used, and the owner thought he could figure out how to start roasting. It proved to be a difficult process. Today, Hunsaker's company, Copper Canyon, roasts about 25 bags of beans per week, each one weighing up to 165 pounds. Copper Canyon distributes coffee to 45 coffee shops and 15 other businesses, with about a fifth of its clients located in the Springfield area. It caters large events and serves drinks to customers from a small storefront in the Battlefield Roastery at 4243 West 3rd Street. The owner has also stumbled into a couple of other ventures, from beekeeping and honey sales to shipping tea all the way to Japan. He's also gotten into the honey. So here's what he says. By 2011, Hunsaker said he knew that he needed a good consultant to help him learn the coffee trade. He had been reading articles on the industry, so when he recognized leading coffee consultant Tracy Allen in a Kansas City cafe, he knew he had a chance. I actually saw him at a restaurant and ran in, and he was on a date. I sat down by his date and just said, "Hey, how do we get started?" Hunsaker developed a friendship with Allen at the time. His company was the smallest client the consultant had ever taken on. I mean, I was just in desperation because I probably wasn't going to go any farther if I didn't have somebody that refined my skills and introduced me to the correct suppliers. The Copper Canyon owner said he still roasts coffee the way Allen taught him. With the consultant's help, he developed a relationship with about 17 coffee farmers in 11 different countries. Copper Canyon works with 2 coffee importers based in Kansas City and Minneapolis. The company keeps most of its inventory in the importer's warehouse, which proved fortunate with President Trump's tariffs when those policies began to impact the market. The reason we keep it at their prices is because of international warehouses, Hunsaker explained. It actually saved my butt because we had a bunch of coffee and we don't have to pay the tariffs on it because it was considered a trade-free warehouse. Most of Copper Canyon's beans come from Brazil, a country that Trump has deemed an extraordinary threat to national security. A July executive order from the president placed a 40% tariff on certain products from Brazil. As of November 13th, certain Brazilian agriculture products are no longer subject to the additional tariff. Almost 10 years ago, Copper Canyon Samaritan coffee importer sent the company 50 pounds of tea from its family farm. At that time, the mall had become big and people were like, "Can you make coffee? Can you make tea?" "We make everything," Hunsaker said. This was the start of the Phoenix Tea Company. Today, the owner is paring down to about 30 blends of tea. It's a totally different world from coffee, he said, with a profit margin 4 to 5 times greater. He now has Phoenix Tea Company is bringing in about $250,000 annually. Phoenix Tea Company sells goods to about a third of Copper Canyon's customers and 35 additional clients, including a number of dedicated tea rooms. None of them are local. In fact, Hunsaker said Phoenix Tea Company ships twice a year to Japan. Hunsaker attends yearly tea shows where he said that he sticks out like a sore thumb. His first year visiting, he arrived wearing embroidered dickies, looking more like a mechanic than a tea person. Phoenix Tea Company's inventory is stored in a 2,500 square foot basement of Copper Canyon's building, a carefully controlled room. To keep the tea from becoming tainted, people who enter the room must suit up and avoid wearing fragrances. Up next, a storefront and a cold drink trolley. So stay tuned, it's not just coffee anymore.
This article is from the Springfield Daily. It is letting us know there is a new Ozarks Literacy Council. There's a new executive director. The Ozarks Literacy Council has hired a new executive director following the October exit of its 7-year leader. Lori Beeson has been tapped to lead the Springfield-based nonprofit, according to a news release. She succeeds Amy Jardell, who cited plans for the next chapter of my career, in quotes, in exiting October 17th. I'm honored to join OLC as executive director and to help advance its vital mission of unblocking the power of literacy for every willing learner. Beeson said in the release, "I look forward to working alongside the dedicated staff, volunteer, and community partners to build on the strong foundation already in place to continue strengthening our community." Beeson joins the organization from Girl Scouts of the Missouri Heartland, where she has worked 17 years, most recently as Vice President of Operations and Mission Support, according to her LinkedIn profile. Her nonprofit experience and proven leadership skills make her an excellent fit for this role, and I'm confident that she'll bring the fresh perspective and energy we need after 7 years of steady leadership, said Sunny Nutt, OLC Board President, in the release. As Board President, I look forward to working alongside Lori to expand our mission's reach and strengthen literacy throughout the Ozarks. Ozarks Literacy Council has an operating budget of roughly $198,000 for employees and more than 200 volunteers, according to the past reporting. The nonprofit has promoted literacy by providing free resources and services to Southwest Missouri adults and children since 1968.
From the Springfield News-Leader and reporter Martina Mayaz, Springfieldians asked to share thoughts, feedbacks on Convention Center. Springfield city leaders are seeking to get a better understanding of how residents feel about the proposed convention and event center after an increase to the lodging tax that would have funded the project was voted down in November's special election. The city has launched a community-wide survey to gather feedback on the convention center and its potential future, the city announced in a news release exactly a month after the election. The survey hopes to give city leaders a better understanding of the community's priorities, concerns, and perspectives of the proposed 125,000 square foot convention center in downtown Springfield following the November election. The survey is available on the city's website and will close December 19th. Responses are collected anonymously with address information only collected to understand geographical trends. It is expected to take 6 to 8 minutes to complete. Results will be shared with Springfield City Council and the city's leadership team. The survey includes questions about how residents voted, if they did, why they voted the way they did, what factors could influence their support for a future convention center, what events residents would be most interested in, and more. When Springfield voters rejected a 3% increase to the lodging tax that would have provided funding for the $175 million estimated cost project, it was the first time a majority of those showing up at the polls had voted down a city tax in more than 15 years. Consistently, Queen City voters have been strongly supportive of tax measures put before them, with proposals receiving a little more than 70% of votes in favor on average. Most of the proposals in the past 2 decades were also for sales taxes, which directly impacted voters at the register. The outlier result of the November 4th election has been attributed to several factors, ranging from distrust in government generally to a shortened timeline that made voter education and any formal campaigns supporting the tax measure more difficult. Thus far, the city has remained mum on the exact location of the convention center, the professional team selected as finalists for the project, and any details on the accompanying hotel that consultants determined was necessary for the success of a convention center. Also, no further details on what could come next for the project have been shared, though city leaders have noted that nothing, including bringing a lodging tax increase back to the ballot, is off the table. According to the release, the survey is part of a broader outreach efforts that includes listening sessions. Whether you supported, opposed, or didn't vote on the proposal, your perspective is important, City Manager David Cameron said in the release. This survey helps us understand what questions you have, what concerns you'd like addressed, and what information is most helpful as we consider next steps. It only takes a few minutes, and we truly want to hear from as many people as possible. The city was eager to put the tax measure on the special election ballot due to the potential $30 million coming from the state. Springfield's question was the only one on the Greene County ballot, meaning the city had to cover the entire cost of the election. Greene County Clerk Shane Scholler told the News-Leader the final invoice came to nearly $205,000, though this will still yet be need to be reviewed by the county auditor's office. The election saw a mere 7.12% voter turnout with a total of 7,488 votes cast, meaning the city paid roughly $27 per vote cast. The $30 million for the project was budgeted by the state, but withheld by Governor Mike Kehoe following the 2025 legislative session. Kehoe can decide to release or cancel the $30 million at any time. If released, the state funds, coupled with a local match in the same amount, must be spent by the end of June 2026. Council has already allocated the local match using a full year's revenue from the half-cent portion of the revamped 3/4-cent sales tax.
This is an article from the SBJ Business. It is regarding the Spots Bowl is scheduled to be held December 18th at the Ford Center. The MSU Bears to play Arkansas State in bowl game. Less than a week after securing a spot in a bowl game, Missouri State University has accepted an invitation to play in the inaugural Spots Bowl against Arkansas State University. The Spots Bowl is scheduled December 18th at the 12,000-seat Ford Center, which is part of the Star in Frisco, Texas. According to a news release, the Star serves as the world headquarters and training facility of the Dallas Cowboys. The Spots Bowl, which replaces the now defunct Bahamas Bowl, joins the portfolio of 17 postseason college ball games owned and operated by the SPN events, many of which have become launch pads for future NFL talent and unforgettable fan experiences. Officials said in the release, noting the game would be nationally televised on ESPN2. This also includes the ability to listen to the radio of what is going on within the game. The Bears finished 7-5 overall in their inaugural season with the Conference USA and Division I football subdivision. Arkansas State's record was 6-6. MSU had petitioned the NCAA for a postseason waiver on behalf of its football program, and multiple Missouri politicians had lobbied for inclusion. According to past Springfield Business Journal reporting, MSU was previously ineligible amid a transition to the FBS from the football championship subdivision.
Thank you for listening to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. Come by and see us in person with daily deals at 2713 North Kansas Expressway in Springfield, Missouri. Veterans receive a 25% discount every day, providing significant savings as a token of appreciation for their service. Additionally, the store features a weekly clothing sale where all clothing items available at 50% off every Wednesday. Seniors age 55 and older benefit from a 25% discount every Tuesday, making shopping more affordable for the senior community. Well, in case you didn't know, it's holiday time. From the Greene County, Missouri Facebook post, come and enjoy beautiful Christmas music in the Greene County Historic Courthouse this December. On December 9th, tomorrow, All Saints Anglican Church handbells will be in the historic courthouse at 11 a.m. On the 10th, Fairgrove will be the Singing Eagles will be there at 12:30. The Springfield Lutheran School at 1:30. On the 11th, Second Baptist Handbells will be performing at 11, followed by Republic High School at 12, and the Willard Chamber Choir at 1. On the 12th, Walnut Grove Chamber, 4th through 12th grade, will be there at 10 a.m. On the 15th, Fairgrove High School will be there at 11 a.m. And on the 17th, the Courthouse Chorale will provide music at 12 o'clock. Also, according to the City of Springfield website, there's a lot going on downtown at the square. From now until December 20th, these following free activities. You can take your picture with Santa Friday and Saturdays from 5 until 8 p.m. There is a lighted holiday train that will be traveling around Park Central Square from 5 to 8 on Fridays and Saturdays. Then on December 13th, 19th, and 20th, the city will be providing free carriage rides from 6 to 9. During the photos with Santa and the train rides around Park Central, various performers will be performing Christmas carols throughout the square. In another report in the 417 magazine, Inside North Star Christmas Company, Alyssa Roney has a report about a downtown market. The report starts out with a picture of the two owners and their dog. Derek Baker and Jennifer Bessie Baker are co-owners of the North Star Christmas Company. Have you ever heard of a bull in a china shop? On Commercial Street, you can find a much sweeter version, a bulldog in an ornament shop. Miss Peppermint Piggy Patty is a 4-year-old English bulldog and part-time security guard at North Star Christmas Company, a year-round Christmas store based in Springfield. To North Star's co-owner and operator, Jennifer Bessie Baker, Piggy was a Christmas gift of sorts. She adopted her at Christmas time. As you peruse the quaint shop located across the street from LaRue Bistro, you might become lost in a forest of Christmas trees while a warm cinnamon smell wafts through the air. Each tree incorporates its own distinct aesthetic, the handiwork of Bessie Baker and her family. During other holiday season, including St. Patrick's Day and Mother's Day, some plastic evergreen trees take on a completely different seasonal character. This passion for festive started and before Bessie Baker opened North Star alongside her husband Derek Baker earlier this year. She said that they have always gone all out on celebrations, something that was important when she and Baker discussed their family plans. My husband and I both grew up in homes with great parents, but homes where they did not decorate, Bessie Baker says. My parents are just not holiday people, and neither are his parents. They're not birthday people. It's a very regular day for them. When Bessie Baker and her husband got together and ultimately decided to get married, they talked through what their future might look like at home. They knew they wanted celebrations like birthday and Christmases to feel extra special. The couple's Christmas collection grew so big that they started a business, first selling online, then later in antique and mall booths, including relics. Around the same time, Baker began installing Christmas lights for customers, a service the shop still offers alongside Christmas tree decorations. To move to a storefront was a natural progression. Bessie Baker describes the couple's business as a side hustle, as the two currently work in government and are set to retire in 2027. We just want to give back to our community, she says. We have very stressful jobs, both my husband and I, and this is the exact opposite of that. While Branson has its own array of Christmas shops, Bessie Baker says what differentiates North Star in her Springfield-specific ornaments are often purchased as souvenirs, as well as her personal connection with customers. We try to give really individualized customer service, she says, especially me because I'm a chatty person. To Bessie Baker, the store prioritizes the magic of Christmas all year, something she defines as the feeling of giving and caring and loving. Some of the most endearing aspects of North Star Christmas Company are its Christmas elves. That is, the Baker's children. They often are hard at work around the store, greeting customers and working the cash register. Some of these children were adopted through the foster care system. Bessie Baker says their experience reinvigorates her passion for festivity. She estimates that about 20 kids have passed through her home over the past 6 years, and she's made sure they all go out for holidays and birthdays. I truly enjoy bringing kids into our home and letting them experience an over-the-top Christmas because it may be the only one that they've ever had. In her brick and mortar store on C Street, she is helping spread the whimsy. In fact, she and her husband have hand-selected the store's location because of the street's character. She wanted a Christmas store, not a mall store. C Street, Bessie Baker says, is also a metaphor for her marriage. The street's mix of historic architecture with eccentric shop matches her husband's traditional nature and her love of unique items. Items like the ornament of Michelangelo's David in a red bikini trunks or the chrome Buddha. In the future, Bessie Baker hopes to keep the business in the family. In particular, she sees her 15-year-old daughter, Paige, taking over, citing her entrepreneurial spirit. She has shown a true initiative to have a business, she says. Could that mean that we will be changing the guard dog when it's time for Piggy to enjoy her retirement?
This is from the Springfield Daily Citizen. It is under the K through 12 education. Lobbyists, school funding could take serious hit in upcoming legislative session. Springfield Board of Director and Education meets, hearing more than about pre-filled bills for the next legislative session. Governor's plan to eliminate state income tax. Missouri Public Schools will once again have to prepare for a number of bills from the General Assembly that could threaten state funding. The Springfield Board of Education met Friday, December 5th, for a legislative retreat meeting held at Kraft Administrative Center and heard from district lobbyist Jason Zamkus about bills with direct or indirect effects on public school districts. Zamkus said that the lawmakers in the Missouri House of Representatives and Senate have been busy pre-filling bills at unprecedented levels. December 1 was the opening day for pre-filling legislation, and both chambers set records for the number of bills filed on the first day, Zamkus said. So much so that the website couldn't keep up and actually provide written text on the bills. Zamkus said an expected report would be about a week late because that tech snafu. But already he reported to the board that he has seen a number of bills similar to the ones filed last year that could be concerning for Springfield Public Schools funding. The forecast validated a higher priority on legislative advocacy, and the board has made, said board president Judy Brunner, the board has increasingly directed Superintendent Grenita Lathan to connect with lawmakers, and board members have to also gotten more involved with the process. Brunner said that the board needs to work harder to make people aware of the potential effects on Missouri's public schools. Reduced funding could lead to shortage of teachers and programs that SBS offers. Do I think we are at pivotal time in public education? Yes. Do I think we all need to be paying really close attention to what is happening? Yes, I do, Brunner said after the meeting. I think that it is a part of the board's responsibility to help educate the public on what consequences of some of the things are. Zamkus reported that in addition to a high number of bills being profiled, Treasurer Vivek Malek has asked for more taxpayer money to fund most scholars, the state's voucher program. Originally intended to fund scholarships with private donations, the program transformed into a voucher program this year when Kehoe signed a budget funneling $51 million into it. Across the state, a Missouri Independent report reveals 98% of that money was diverted to religious schools. Malek in 2027 will ask for double that amount. Zamkas and Kehoe is expected to present his proposed budget during the State of the State address set for January. As far as pre-filled legislation goes, the ones with the best chances of serious support, debate, and passage fall into three general areas, Zemka said. Each one of those could be dramatic effects on the district's annual budget. Since SPS gets about a third of its revenues from the state, the board in June approved a budget for the 2025-2026 school year that projects $369,437,313 in revenues and $369,924,391 in expenses. Elimination of the tax income per the three areas are confirming what Springfield Reps Betsy Fogel, Stephanie Hine, and Melanie Stinnett discussed during a forum Thursday at the Hatch Museum within their auditorium. Kehoe is keenly interested in phasing out a key source of the state's revenues. The matter is likely to receive a significant portion of the General Assembly's time. Zamkas said the government plans a long-term phase-out that takes 10 years or longer. Recovering that money would come from a combination of an increased sales tax, as well as hikes on taxes for vices such as tobacco, alcohol, and gambling. A repeal of the prohibition on sales taxes for services such as legal counseling and medical services could also be on the table. The open enrollment and proposals, legislators have also found a number of bills that would allow students to access to school districts where they do not reside. Zamkas said that is a champion for such enrollment bills is Representative Brad Pollitt, who spoke to the board in March about his ideas. The property tax reform. Zamkas said a significant number of legislators believe that school districts gain property taxes unfairly. They are continuing to file bills that would further reduce the amount that property owners would pay in taxes. Such property taxes are the largest resource of revenue for SPS, as well as many other school districts in the state. No one of these proposals operate in a vacuum, Zamkas said. More distantly is an effort to redefine the foundation formula, the state's algorithm for dispersing money to public schools. Zamkas said a task force that includes Springfield's Tom Prater is researching the formula and is expected to make a report on changes to the governor in December 2026. The SPS is to continue legislative advocacy. The district has increased its presence in Jefferson City. Last year, board members and district administrators hosted a visit from lawmakers and made trips to Jefferson City. More trips next year are planned. Additionally, SPS will host the Missouri State Board of Education on Monday, December 8th. In connection with a meeting on December 9th, state board members will meet students and staff at Launch Virtual Learning, Hillcrest High School, Wolf School, and Reed Middle School. Lathan said that she knows that while she advocates for the state's largest public school district, she also carries a banner for all of the state's public schools. Her colleagues across the state feel the same way, she said. The outlook feels a bit more daunting this year, she said. Once again, I remain concerned about funding for K through 12. Really, pre-K through 12. Once again, I remain concerned about funding for K through 12. Lathan said, I want us to be able to, as a school district, to continue to offer all the outstanding programs that we offer and to ensure that every child graduates, being able to pursue the career path of their choice. But in order to do that, we must have foundation things and opportunities for them at our schools. While she said the board has directed her to do more advocacy, she said she is not alone. What excites me is that we're in this together, Lathan said. The board, of course, wants me to advocate more, but they want to be part of that advocacy. I'm excited about what the new year will bring and what we'll be able to do as a team.
An article in the Springfield News-Leader. New Springfield group aims to educate, promote historic preservation. Marta Miaz. A new organization is hoping to be a one-stop shop for all things history and preservation in Springfield. Queen City Preservation has launched with the goal to educate and collaborate to make the community more aware of historic preservation locally and make it easier for residents to preserve their own properties. Genevieve Henry, Preservation Director of the QCP and an interior designer, told the News-Leader there is a lot of information available about Springfield's history, but no one central place to find it. A lot of similar-sized cities have a kind of preservation society, a group or something that leads this dialogue, and I think we just see it missing in Springfield, she said. This is a particular notable project in Missouri because it received the second highest federal historic tax credit investment of more than $1.5 billion from 2001 to 2024. Only trailing New York City, according to the National Trust for Historic Preservation data. The Springfield organization's website, while still in the works, already includes resources on a plethora of topics, from historic tax credits and how to research properties to place, to turn DIY and technical guidance, and stores to shop for preservation-friendly supplies. For more information, visit www.queencitypreservation.org. The group consists of 4 members: Henry, architect Peyton Chambers, real estate professional Jason Nunn, and landscape historian Katie Holmer. The organization is fiscally supported by Community Foundation of the Ozarks. There was no one building or threat in the city's architecture that prompted the formation of Queen City Preservation, Henry said. Serving the city landmark, boards made her aware of the number of historic buildings in the city and the importance of community members being present and engaged in discussions about preservation. She and other members of the organization came together under the Roundtree Council for Preservation, but soon realized there was a need for a more citywide approach too. They just can't build things like they used to. Old things are made to last, to be repaired. They have character, charm. They've outlived half of your family, Henry said. Now everything's on Wi-Fi and disconnects and dies if you look at it wrong. While the organization is still getting up and running, Henry said the goal is to host 2 workshops and 6 educational events each year. A sneak peek of events in draft form is already available on the QCP website. Queen City Preservation is set to host a window repair and preservation workshop. Henry said this is an active way to show that fixing old elements of homes does not have to be overly expensive or make the homes less energy efficient. Henry said the group hopes to collaborate with city leaders, developers, neighborhoods, and beyond to teach about preservation and share ways that adds history and it adds value to the city. The goal is not to advocate on policy or push for certain legislative decisions, but rather to ensure those making decisions about structures across the Queen City can do so with all the information and tools available to them. The city had considered a demolition by neglect policy in 2023, which refers to property owners purposefully allowing buildings to deteriorate, often to skirt historic preservation regulations to get permission to later demolish them. Springfield City Council members tasked with reviewing options to regulate such a practice instead opted to focus on updating the city's historic building survey first. This fall, the city staff determined a new history building survey will be conducted on a section of College Street from Chestnut Expressway to the west of Grant Avenue on the east, consisting of 180 parcels and historic gas stations across 10 parcels. By knowing the roots of places we call home, Henry said, there is tremendous value in history as a driver for tourism in the city. Tourists are going to a city. They're not going to some city, a place that feels like the place that has history. They learn about it while they're there. It doesn't look like every other place they've already been to, she said. So preserving our historic structures and telling the stories of our community is really how we do that.
This is by the Springfield Daily Citizen. It is on the Republic Library Enthusiast Forum book chain to help with upcoming move. About 200 turn out for an event that gave attendees a chance to pass books from the old library to a new one, which is hoped to open in February. Julie Steffens and Leslie Clark bonded Saturday over children's books, especially if you give a mouse a cookie. Granted, they didn't have much time. They got only a few seconds with each one before passing them to other people. They were two of about 200 people who turned out Saturday, December 6th, at the Republic Branch Library for an event that celebrated the building's final day of operations. The occasion was not held in sadness, however. Attendees said as they enjoyed treats and activities at the library, they were eager to look only to a few feet away at a brand new building. My girls got to be part of the groundbreaking for the new library, said Malaya Morales of Republic. They got to hold shovels alongside the board members. We're excited for the new space. It's exciting for the community, and I hope even more people come. The centerpiece of the event was a human book chain, where many of the people who attended lined up between the two buildings, then passed about 600 books from the old library to the new one. That line helped introduce Stevens, a recent transplant to Republic from Alaska, to Clark, who has lived in Republic only a couple of years. I'm a library kid who became a library adult, Clark said. The branch, located at 921 Lindsay Avenue in Republic, after Saturday will close to the public so that materials can be moved from its current building to a 21,820 square foot building that doubles available space for the branch. The about $11.2 million project is partially funded with about $5 million in federal grants. When completed, it will offer a larger community room, meeting rooms, computer lab, makerspace, and an improved drop-off lane for materials, in addition to the expanded space for its collection. The new branch is hoped to open to the public in February. A grand opening will be held on June 1st to kick off an annual summer reading campaign. In addition to the book chain, attendees heard a final story time read by Amanda, Miss Amanda Hera. The final book was about an alligator. Tisha Shea, branch manager, said that last story was important because the library has a tradition of singing a "See You Later, Alligator" song at the end. Staff members wore t-shirts with the phrase as part of the event. Attendees also enjoyed refreshments and were given permission to draw on the walls with chalk or marbles. Morales said her family has loved using the library. Her 8-year-old Catalina has been coming to story time since she was 1. Morales said. Jared Holt, also of Republic, and his family shares that love. He drew a bookworm transforming into a book moth, building on Bulgarian legend. We're excited for the new one to open, Holt said. We have gone to multiple library locations, and we're pretty active participants. It's nice to see we have outgrown this one. Shea said that the books were still being checked out at the branch during its last day. Those books can be returned to other library locations. But Shea said she and her staff plan to extend checkout times to the patrons that aren't charged late fines. Currently, with a staff of 11, the library staff will almost double when the new building opens. 9 of the current staff members have worked together about 6 years, creating a tight-knit family that has done incredible work in the transition, Shea said. All of those staff members are excited about the new staff. We're a pretty small staff, and as we get pulled away to work on this project, a lot of them have kept the daily operations happening, Shea said. Everybody has stepped up to make sure that this building has got built.
We are broadcasting live from the Blind Community Thrift Store. It is a spacious 17,000 square foot thrift store located in Springfield, Missouri. It holds the distinction of being the first retail store worldwide to incorporate NaviLens technology. This significantly impacts the accessibility for the blind, visually impaired, and non-English speaking individuals. This innovative system enables customers to navigate and shop with minimal assistance, fostering independence and confidence. The store operates as a not-for-profit organization dedicated to generating funds that support the provision of adaptive technology training for the blind and visually impaired community, often at little to no cost. Visitors can learn more about the organization and access its services by visiting the store at 2713 North Kansas Expressway in Springfield, Missouri, or by exploring the website at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The website offers comprehensive information about the store's mission, services and opportunities for community involvement, as well as details about the free store available to residents in the Springfield area. So the Britannica newsletter, Today in History. What has happened today in history? In 1980, on this day in 1980, British musician John Lennon, who rose to fame with the Beatles and had a successful solo career, was fatally shot by Mark David Chapman in New York City, causing a global outpouring of grief. On this day in 2024, American pop star Taylor Swift staged the 149th and final show of her Eras Tour, which sold a record-setting 2 billion in tickets. Also on this day in 2024, after 13 years of civil war in Syria, Bashar al-Assad was ousted as the country's leader. His attempts to repress the uprising against his rule included brutal tactics, most infamously the wall of chemical weapons. On this day in 2022, American basketball player Brittany Griner was released from a Russian penal colony after several months of imprisonment that many saw as politically motivated. In 2019, American actor and puppeteer Carol Spiney, who created the characteristics and mannerism of Big Bird, a larger-than-life puppet he played for nearly 50 years, died at the age of 85. In 2016, American astronaut and politician John Glenn, who was the first U.S. astronaut to orbit Earth, for which he was regarded as a national hero, died at the age of 95. In 2010, a little-known company called SpaceX became the first commercial company to release spacecraft, the Dragon capsule, into orbit, and it successfully returned to land. Mia Hamm, a leading figure in U.S. women's football soccer, retired from the sport on this day in 2004. In 1991, Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus signed an agreement to form the Commonwealth of Independent States in the wake of the demise of the Soviet Union. In 1987, U.S. President Ronald Reagan and Soviet General Mikhail Gorbachev signed a nuclear weapons reduction treaty. In 1978, the American classic film The Deer Hunter, starring Robert De Niro and Christopher Walken, among others, had its world premiere, an emotionally shattering look at the effects of the Vietnam War on the young American men sent to fight it. The movie later won an Oscar for Best Picture. And way back in 1903, English sociologist and philosopher Herbert Spencer, who introduced the term survival of the fittest, died in England. In 1886, Diego Rivera, whose bold large-scale murals stimulated a revival of the fresco painting in Latin America, was born in Mexico.
This is an article from the Springfield News-Leader. It is titled, Master Gardener Explains How to Keep Tubers, Berry Plants Over Winter. This is from Helen Vanella. She is the Master Gardener of Greene County. Her question, can decorative sweet potatoes be saved over winter and replanted in the spring? Yes. These tubers can be successfully stored over the winter to be replanted, just as edible sweet potatoes can be stored. The tubers should be dug before the first frost, then allowed to dry for 24 hours or so before putting into storage. The storage area should be cool, 55 to 65 degrees, dark and well ventilated. The basement or closet should be an appropriate place for this. Storage in the refrigerator is not suitable as temperatures, even in a vegetable drawer, are too cold for sweet potatoes. The tubers should be wrapped in moist newspaper or placed in moist sand or peat moss. Check in frequently during the storage period for any sign of decay. As with regular sweet potatoes, these tubers can be used to start slips in March. Placing one end of the tuber forgive me. The entire decorative sweet potato can also be planted directly in soil in the spring. It is also possible to overwinter the entire plant. With trimming as a house plant, you will have enough room. Question, when is the best time to apply grub control in my yard? I do not recommend using any chemical grub control product, as these products also kill many beneficials in the soil. The use of milky spore, which is a naturally occurring bacterium in the soil, targets Japanese beetle grubs without harming humans or other organisms. It does not kill June bug or European chipper grubs. This product readily available where garden supplies are sold and can be applied virtually any time the ground is not frozen. In the spring, summer, or fall. The product should be applied for 2 consecutive years to achieve best control of the grubs. The best times to apply would be around Memorial Day, 4th of July, or Labor Day, as these are times the grubs are actively feeding and are closer to the surface of the soil. Upon ingestion of the milky spore, grubs will die within a week, and their decomposing bodies will release more spores back into the soil for continued protection from future grubs. This protection should last for several years. Question: I have potted berry plants, blackberries, and blueberries. What is the best way to protect these over the winter for the next growing season? In milder areas of Missouri, growing zones 6 and 7, you may be able to simply move these pots to a more protected area outside, out of the reach of strong winds. For extra protection, the pots can be placed closely together, then surrounded by several inches of tightly packed leaves, straw, or other mulch. The pots can also be moved to an unheated garage or porch out of the wind, cold, but not subject to hard freezes. The plants should be watered periodically and throughout the winter, keeping the soil moist but never waterlogged.
Help Give Hope, quietly providing support for more than 40 years. For more than 4 decades, Help Give Hope has been a quiet but steadfast presence in the Ozarks, a local charity built on the belief that the hope is powerful when it meets the needs right here in Springfield. This picture also accompanies a picture of Santa with a bright red hat and a big white beard, and his beard goes down really far. He has on a white coat with fringe down the front. Every December, our community comes together for the program that started it all, Help Give Hope Christmas Project. For many families in the Ozarks, Christmas can be a painful reminder of financial strain. Parents often carry a heavy burden of wanting to provide more than their circumstances allow. Our Christmas program exists so that no child has to wonder whether they've been forgotten, and no parent has to choose between holiday gifts and keeping the lights on. But from the beginning, Help Give Hope has understood some of the importance. Christmas joy cannot exist without basic stability. That's why our holiday program doesn't stop at toys. When families come to us in December, they leave with household essentials, bedding, cookware, linens, hygiene items, cleaning supplies, and other necessities that many of us take for granted. We believe that giving these items restores dignity and helps create a home where children can grow, feel safe, and thrive. The Christmas distributions are a massive undertaking. Volunteers purchase, organize, and wrap items for weeks. Donors shop the family's wish list with intentions and generosity. Community partners share resources, and on distribution days, the warehouse comes alive with gratitude, relief, and joy. Parents often tell us the experience lifts a weight off their shoulders. They say things like, "I can breathe again," or "I can give my kids a Christmas they'll remember." For so many in our region, Help Give Hopes has become not only a source of holiday joy, but a yearly reminder that compassion is alive and well in the Ozarks. While Christmas remains a cherished tradition, our mission extends far beyond the holiday season. Over the years, Help Give Hope recognized a truth we could all not ignore. Hardships does not wait for December. Families face crisis every single day. A lost job, medical bills, a car breakdown, rising rent, or unexpected expenses that spiral quickly into instability. Today, Help Give Hope offers a robust and impactful year-round assistance program designed to support families during these temporary but urgent challenges. Our approach is practical, compassionate, and deeply rooted in understanding what families need. Housing is the foundation of stability. When families fall behind on rent due to short-term hardships, eviction becomes a devastating possibility. Our assistance program helps keep families in their homes, preventing displacement, trauma, and the long-term consequences of homelessness. When a parent tells us, "You keep a roof over my children's heads," we understand the profound impact of every single payment. Utility assistance. Losing electricity, heat, or water can be frightening, especially for families with children or elderly members. We help restore or prevent the disconnection of essential utilities, ensuring families remain safe and warm. In the Ozarks, reliable transportation isn't a luxury, it's a requirement. Without a vehicle, parents cannot get to work, children cannot reliably get to school, and medical appointments become nearly impossible. Through our car repair program and our used car program, we help families maintain or regain their independence. Few moments compared to the sight of a parent receiving keys to a dependable vehicle, a moment filled with relief, tears, and renewed possibility. Each of these programs is built on the same philosophy. Families who are working hard and striving for stability sometimes just need a helping hand to get through a tough season. We're here to offer that hand with dignity, respect, and genuine care. What makes Help Give Hope extraordinary is not only what we do, but how we do it. We are powered by volunteers who deeply believe in giving back. We are fueled by donors who trust us to steward their generosity wisely. We are supported by businesses and individuals who want to make the Ozarks a stronger, more compassionate place to live. Every dollar donated, every toy collected, every hour volunteered, every partnership formed is all directly impacts local families. The stories we hear each year remind us that the smallest act of kindness can be transformative. Help Give Hope is more than a charity. It is a lifeline, a source of strength, and a reminder that no family in our community should face hardship alone. Whether it's bringing Christmas joy to children or helping a parent get back to work, our mission remains unwavering to provide support that eases burdens and restores hope. As we look forward to the future, we remain committed to expanding our impact and continuing to serve families with compassion and integrity. The challenges families face may change, but the need for hope, stability, and community will always remain. And Help Gives Hope will be there at Christmas and all year long. To learn more about Help Give Hope, visit helpgivehope.org or reach out to Michael Brady at mbrady@helpgivehope.org. That article comes to us from the Springfield Daily Citizen.
This article is from the Springfield News-Leader. It is under the heading of opinion, which means this piece expresses the views of its authors separate from those of this publication. Hashtag, we can't let hate consume us or the republic in which we relate. The opinion, after my last submission, I must extend my remarks on the matter of hate. I submitted Donald Trump was the first president in modern American history to express bluntly he hated the opposition. That statement was unworthy of any president. Sadly, Mr. Trump cannot grasp that in our public presidents serve all Americans, not just some. His hatred of Americans he serves places him in a category distasteful and undesirable in any president. Donald used the fear he stoked to spread hate through his characterizations of those opposing him. I admit there are many on both sides who surrender to the comfort hate seemingly offers, but a president's duty is to lead, not to submit to venomous feelings of hate. I consider myself a sincere person of faith, as do many readers, and I subscribe to the words of St. Augustine and Mahatma Gandhi. Hate the sin and love the sinner. I hate neither Donald nor his MAGA boosters and will always condemn attempted assassinations of anyone. Any assassination is an affront to our republic. However, I dispute with the passion for his disdain for the rights of women, his unending lies. His absolute rejection of refugee, his unlimited greed, his rape of the wondrous earth we have been given, his expressed disgust of God's children who are non-white, and his insatiable demand for more power. Empathy demands rejection of his publicized hate, and disagreement does not indicate hate. Persons of faith must love all God's children, whether brown, black, gay, transgender, or atheistic. Remember the two greatest commandments in Matthew 22:36-40. As far as Gnostics and atheists, our founding fathers were Christians, but their faith tended towards deism, belief in deity, but dominant belief in our responsibility to do right. They subscribe to the natural law, a legal philosophy that states there are universal principles that govern human conduct as defined by Rousseau and Voltaire, enlightened philosophers of the day. Our founding documents speak to America's commitment to that more perfect union, which approximates both scriptural and enlightened messaging. I gladly embrace this empathy that compels me to see Donald and his MAGA followers who hate the libs as individuals and whoever reason have been convinced that all their problems rest at the feet of persons of color, of migrants, of anyone not agreeing with them, and of the oppressed as those they hate and fear. Faith dictates empathy for the MAGA as well as the poor, abused woman, migrants often only a single escape from murderous gangs, and all the marginalized. Returning to Donald, I restate my lack of hate. I do wonder what kind of childhood, adulthood, and experiences created a man so greedy, so demanding of complete submission, so aggrieved at the most minor remark, so unable to understand the lives of those denied his remarkable good fortune in life, and so pathologically narcissistic. Hate wraps its victim in its talons and demands crushing the hated. Hate sees the hated as unworthy sympathy. Hate demands the hated be denied any voice in their futures. Hate destroys any sense of shared humanity and consigns the hated insignificance. As for the person who hates, the damage in their souls and their humanity only transforms their personality to one thoroughly afflicted with the corrosive sentiment. In our republic, this pollutant is destructive of its principles that bound us together for 250 years, almost broke us in our Civil War, and can only further dilapidate our union. In the end, the question determining our republic's future will be Donald's ability to change. Highly unlikely, or upon our choices not to embrace the hate or finding ourselves. Again, this opinion does not express, it expresses the views of the authors, but not all those of this publication or reading of this publication.
From the Springfield Business Journal, this article is by the SBJ staff. Missouri Attorney General files charges against Springfield bathroom remodeler. The Missouri Attorney General's office has filed lawsuits against a Springfield-based bathroom remodeling contractor, alleging the owner defrauded customers to the tune of nearly $400,000 through his company. A complaint filed December 3rd in Greene County Circuit Court levies 20 felony counts against James Gordon Bennett. A probable cause statement included in court filing states Bennett is the sole owner of American Reflections Bath and Body Spa, known as Bath Planet of Southwest Missouri at 806 West Battlefield Road. A call to Bath Planet went unanswered this morning. A website and Facebook page associated with the company appeared to be defunct. The probable cause statement from the Missouri Attorney General's office alleges Bennett and his company caused losses to consumers of over $395,000. The office to date has received 38 complaints from consumers alleging they did not receive promised work from Bennett or his company. Refunds were not provided, nor were labor and materials, the probable cause statement alleges. In September, the Better Business Bureau issued a consumer warning against Reflection Bath and Bath Planet, alleging the company failed to do work or provide refunds despite customers making substantial down payments, according to a separate news release. Bath Planet in July confirmed to the BBB that the local company had been a franchisee but was no longer an authorized dealer. Due to multiple serious violations of our dealer standards, including a pattern of complaints, failure to deliver contracted services, and negative media attention, we have formally terminated their right to operate under the Bath Planet brand, the company reportedly wrote in an email to BBB. At the time of the September news release, Barnett told the BBB he intended to fulfill all of his outstanding customer installations, officials said.
This is an article from the 417 stating we review Raku Sushi and Hibachi. Raku Sushi and Hibachi brings trending treats, classic hibachi flavors, and to die for ramen to the city of Ozarks. When Raku Sushi and Hibachi, 1487 West South Street, Ozarks, Missouri, their phone number 417-551-4168, opens its doors to Ozarks, the staff was met with a horde of instant fans. The place was packed right from the jump. Pre-opening teasers on social media has shown brightly colored walls, flower-scented sushi rolls, and Instagram trendy grab-and-go treats like fruit sando and homemade onigiri. The first time my husband Ellie and I tried to dine there with our kids, we never made it in the door. The crowd was huge, the wait was long, and our kids were hungry. A week or so later, Eli and I went back for a date. This time, the restaurant seemed to have streamlined its system. Although the restaurant was full, the wait was reasonable, and the employee manning the door was a perfect combo of efficient and friendly. Before we knew it, we were seated at the sushi bar with menus in hand. After studying the options for a bit, I ordered the mango tango roll with a poke salad for my meal. And Eli went with the tantan ramen. The mango tango roll features tempura shrimp, cucumber, and crab inside, with seared tuna, mango salsa, and wasabi aioli outside. It's one of those rolls that's a bit precarious to eat. There is a lot of toppings, but once you get to that perfect bite, everything works well together. I love the crunch and the fresh flavors of mango salsa, and seared tuna and a weakness for me. In retrospect, although I enjoyed this roll, I sort of wish I had gone with something a little simpler. If you put everything on it kind of sushi eater, you'll adore this. If you're a focus on the fresh fish kind of sushi eater, you might enjoy something more like the hamachi jalapeno appetizer, featuring sashimi simply but boldly dressed with jalapenos and ponzu sauce. Eli loved his Tantan ramen, one of 6 ramen varieties on the menu, and I admit I stole more than my share of bites. I always nab one nibble, for science, of course, so I can write about flavors. With this ramen, I dipped in multiple times. The noodles were tender and bouncy. The cured egg was soft-boiled to jammy perfection. And the fresh scallions and cucumber added just the right amount of brightness to the umami explosion of this well-seasoned ground beef. Raku's hibachi is one thing we didn't get a chance to try yet, and I've heard from others that trying it in a bento box is the way to go. On our way out, we patted the grab-and-go shelves to pick a few items to home. We brought some fun fruit-shaped breads for our kids. One looked like a watermelon slice, the other like a banana, and a slice of the ubi tiramisu for me and Eli to chew. The kids loved the fruity sweet breads, especially the banana that you could actually peel. And the ubi tiramisu was such a delightful meal ender, not too sweet, delightfully flavored, extremely craveable. Again, thank you for joining us. We are currently broadcasting live from the Blind Community Thrift Store, situated at 2713 North Kansas Expressway in Springfield, Missouri. For additional information about our store, please visit our official website at www.blindcommunity/thriftstore.com. To explore more of our video content, include movie reviews with Matt and Meredith, adaptive technology training videos, and other informative material, please visit our YouTube channel by searching for Blind Community Thrift Store. Our organization is dedicated to supporting the blind community through various initiatives, and our online platforms serve as valuable resources for community engagement and education. We are broadcasting live from the Blind Community Thrift Store in Springfield, Missouri, located at 2713 North Kansas Expressway. Find amazing deals Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Help the blind, help the community.
This article comes from the Springfield News-Leader and was written by Marta Miaz. Mystery Hour to include actor Ed Begley Jr. for a holiday show. Springfield's own Mystery Hour is getting ready to host its annual holiday show, made even more jolly this year by including actor Ed Begley Jr. The Mystery Hour Holiday Spectacular brings a holiday twist to the late-night talk show style show, which will be Friday, December 12th at the Galois Theater at 325 Park Central East. The show announced via news release on Wednesday, December 3rd, that it will be joined by Bagley, who has appeared in many TV movies and TV shows including Young Sheldon, Better Call Saul, Arrested Development, A Mighty Wind, and Holiday Touchdown, a Chiefs love story. Joining Bagley will also be musician Randall Shreve. The evening of holiday fun also promises performances by Genevieve Goodwin, Emerson Day, and new digital videos according to the release. The show will begin at 7:30 and tickets can still be purchased for $25 at the Galois box office or their website. The Mystery Hour aired for 10 seasons on various Fox, ABC, NBC, and CW affiliates across the country, broadcast from the Galois Theater in downtown Springfield. During the 10 seasons on television, the show won 4 Emmys from the Mid-America chapter. The day after the Mystery Hour, College Station Theaters at 415 West College Street will screen 3 of Bagley's films with a Q&A with the actor to follow after each. All 3 screenings will take place on Saturday, December 13th. Here's how you can catch them. A Mighty Wind at 5:30, She-Devil at 6, and Batman Forever at 6:15. Tickets are available on the College Station Theater website.
This article is from the Springfield Daily Citizen. It is under the heading of State Government and Politics. Missouri Appeals Court rewrites ballot. Proposed to clarify a yes would end right to abortion. Missouri's Western District Court of Appeals agreed the ballot language set to go on November 2026 ballot failed to be sufficiently informed voters that a yes vote would repeal abortion rights passed in 2024. The editor's note: free access to elections coverage is made possible by Merrill Lynch Nelson Holland Group. This is written by Annis for Missouri Independent. A Missouri Appeals Court rewrote the language for a proposed abortion ban set to appear on November 2026 ballot after the judges concluded Thursday that the previous wording drafted by Republican Secretary of State Danny Hoskins was riddled with errors. The judges found both the ballot language and the summit statement that will be posted at polling places failed to sufficiently advise voters that the proposed amendment would repeal and replace the Reproductive Rights Amendment voters passed in November 2024 to legalize abortion. The question: shall the Missouri Constitution be amended to, first dot, repeal the 2024 voter-approved amendment providing reproductive health care rights, including abortion through fetal viability? Second dot, allow abortions for rape and incest under 12 weeks gestation, emergencies, and fetal anomalies. Third dot, allow legislation regulating abortion. Fourth dot, ensure parent consent for minors' abortions. Fifth dot, prohibit gender transition procedures for minors. That ends with a question mark. Western District Court of Appeals presiding Judge W. Douglas Thompson and Judges Thomas Chaplin and Janet Sutton filed the opinion less than 24 hours after hearing arguments in their courtroom Wednesday afternoon. Hoskins now rejected ballot language in part asking voters want to repeal Article 1, Section 36, approved in 2024, allow abortions for medical emergencies, fetal anomalies, rape, and incest. Attorneys for Dr. Anna Fitz-James, who filed the lawsuit, pit the statement apart, scrutinizing the assumption that voters would know what Article 1, Section 3 of the Constitution is. The exclusion of the 12-week gestation limit for survivors, as well as the misuse of a semicolon, which could be interpreted to mean citizens would be newly gaining these abortion rights. The appeals court agreed with them all on 3 counts. The judges also rewrote Hoskins' initial ballot language that asked if voters wanted to guarantee women's medical care for emergencies, ectopic pregnancies, and miscarriages. The appeals court found that the wording to be misleading because while the proposed amendment would prevent the state from interfering with an individual's ability to access such care, it does not guarantee the care itself. With bills filed already threatening prosecution against providers and patients, it is crucial that Missourians know that they are being asked to end the protections for reproductive health care that we just passed last general election. Tori Schaefer, Director of Policy and Campaigns for the ACLU of Missouri, and an attorney for Fitz-James, said in a statement Thursday. Fitz-James also argued the proposed amendment violates a statute that prevents ballot measures from encompassing more than one subject. She argued that gender-affirming care is a different subject from reproductive health care. The appeals judges agreed that with the lower court's assessment that the proposed amendment passes constitutional muster and does not violate the single subject rule. Because gender transition surgeries or hormone therapies may affect the ability to reproduce, gender transition surgeries and hormone therapies may be connected with or incident to reproductive health care. The judges write. Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway, in a statement Thursday, said that she disagreed with the court rewriting of the language, adding there was no legitimate reason to displace it. But she called the decision to keep the measure on the ballot a decisive victory. Abortion rights groups have accused lawmakers of including the ban to win over more voters. Gender-affirming health care for minors is currently banned in Missouri, though a challenge to the law is before the state Supreme Court. But they disagreed with how Hoskins worded as part of the language, which initially asked if voters wanted to prohibit sex change procedures for children. The judges said this wording incorrectly attempted to use the word gender and sex interchangeably. The court also rewrote the ballot summary to reflect the new ballot language. A new law passed this year allows the Secretary of State 3 attempts to write fair ballot language. Hoskins has so far used 2, but the appeal court ruled Thursday that he wouldn't be given his 3rd try at the wording. The proposed constitutional amendment was drafted and approved by Missouri's Republican supermajority in May. A lawsuit over the initial ballot language, which failed to state the amendment would ban abortion, was filed in July by Fitz-James. Fitz-James, who submitted this language for the Reproductive Rights Initiative petition, said that the latest amendment was intentionally deceptive. While abortion up until the point of fetal viability was a constitutional right in Missouri because of the abortion rights and amendment voters approved, only several dozen abortions have occurred as legal battles over abortion regulations that remained in state statute play out in the courts. The Missouri Independent. This is where this article was related to.
An article in the Springfield Daily Citizen by Jackie Rewald. Marco Dennis pleads guilty to federal gun charge filing false tax returns. Marco Dennis, the former owner of Plaza Towers, who's been in jail since 2024, pleaded guilty in federal court to one count of possessing firearms while knowingly he had been convicted of a misdemeanor crime of domestic violence and one count of filing a false tax return. Dennis, who is 50, appeared in magistrate court in Judge David P. Rush's courtroom today, Monday, December 8th, and said he understood his rights and wanted to plead guilty. Dennis was arrested on July 14th, 2024, for allegedly assaulting a woman. Dennis is charged in state court with multiple felonies, including a Class A felony of first-degree domestic assault, as well as kidnapping and tampering with physical evidence. While investigating the domestic violence, assault, and kidnapping charges, police say they discovered Dennis owned several guns and that he pleaded guilty in 2003 to misdemeanor third-degree domestic assault. In addition to prohibiting people with felony convictions from possessing guns, federal law also prohibits someone from possessing a gun if they have been convicted of a misdemeanor of domestic assault. Though Dennis posted a $150,000 bond for the state charges, he is being detained in the Phelps County Jail without bond on federal charges. Judge Rush ordered a sentencing assessment be done. Dennis will be sentenced on the federal charges at a later date. He faces a maximum sentence of 15 years for the firearms charge and up to 3 years for the false tax return charge. According to the factual basis in the plea agreement filed Monday morning, Springfield police executed a search warrant at Dennis's home in the Southern Hills neighborhood following the alleged assault. During the search, 8 firearms were seized, including 2 pump-action shotguns, 5 semi-automatic pistols, and a revolver. As far as the false tax return charges, in 2023, Dennis filed with the Internal Revenue Service a tax return form reporting a total income of $64,956. By signing this form, Dennis subscribed to this tax return as he declared under penalties of perjury that the return was true and correct. The plea agreement states in part, however, Dennis willingly signed and subscribed to certain material matters, namely the income amount, knowing it was false. During the calendar year 2023, Dennis operated Springfield Property LLC, which leased and managed various properties in Springfield, Missouri. Springfield Property LLC would collect rental payments from businesses that it leased property to, the document states. Plaza Towers, a Springfield landmark, was sold to the highest bidder at a foreclosure sale in April on the steps of the Greene County Historic Courthouse. Trent Overhue bought the office building at the corner of Glenstone Avenue and Sunshine for $13,364,000. Dennis is scheduled to appear in Greene County Judge Jerry Harmison's courtroom on January 13, 2026 for a case management conference for a state domestic assault, kidnapping, and tampering with physical charges. The crime of possession of a firearm as someone who has been convicted of a misdemeanor crime of domestic violence, though rarely prosecuted in the past, stems from an amendment to the 1968 Gun Control Act that was passed in 1996. It's called the Luttenberg Amendment, and its goal was simple. Its sponsor, the late New Jersey Senator Frank Lutenberg, a Democrat, said it was dedicated to the simple principle that wife beaters and child abusers should not have guns. In the summer of 2023, the Springfield Daily Citizen published a series on domestic violence in Greene County called Living in Fear. In a story with the headline, 9 Ways to Help Those Who Are Living in Fear, the Daily Citizen suggested that this federal prohibition be used more often in Greene County in combating domestic violence. In that 2023 story, Judge Douglas Harpool said, "I don't recall the charge ever being presented in my court. Harpool has been on the bench and the federal court in Springfield for more than 10 years. A spokesman for the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Western District of Missouri said the charge was not filed in 2021, 2022, 2023, and only a handful of times in prior years. But in September 2024, a few months after federal prosecutor charged Dennis with this rarely used statute, the U.S. Department of Justice announced it would award $690 million in grants to fight domestic violence by trying to keep guns out of the hands of abusers. And Greene County is one of only 78 recipients across 47 states.
This is an opinion from the Springfield News-Leader. This opinion, again, expresses the views of its author or authors, separate from those of this publication. Data centers will require innovation, Missouri energy sector. It was written by Avery Frank. I remember when the Game of Thrones was at its height of its popularity, and its catchphrase seemed to be plastered everywhere I looked. Winter is coming. Today is similarly ominous refrain in echoing across the energy sector. The data centers are coming. A data center is a physical location that houses servers and related hardware that process, store, and transmit digital information. As artificial intelligence uses expands, demand for computing power is also rising at feverish pace, driving the need for more and more energy-intensive data centers. As in the Game of Thrones, there's a certain mystery surrounding how dire the situation truly is. In April 2024, Goldman Sachs forecasts that data centers will rise from 2.5% to 8% of all U.S. electricity usage by 2030. However, Google recently reported a 33-fold reduction in their energy usage for AI text prompts in a single year. It is difficult to predict how much energy will be needed in the coming years. Current Missouri law protects average ratepayers from any unjust or unreasonable costs from service to such customers, such as in data centers. However, this does not mean none of the burden of the building new generation capacity will fall on ratepayers. And an overbuild based on overly aggressive demand projections could leave them paying for unused assets. On the other hand, failure to build sufficient power supply, whether due to demand miscalculation or delays in constructing multiple plants, could cause Missouri to miss out on significant investment in the state. Worse, an underbuild could create reliability concerns. This is real tension here, and a great deal of pressure to predict and build effectively. The premise of CRE is fairly straightforward. Allow consumer-regulated electricity utilities, which are known as CREUs, that are disconnected from the ratepayer-supported grid to create. and private energy islands for the largest new customers such as data centers. This approach makes sense for two reasons. One, the anticipated surge in demand is expected to be fueled by a small number of users. By isolating the electricity supply of these customers from the ratepayer-supported grid, CRE can help shield everyday customers from spikes in energy prices. The increase in demand is predicted, but it isn't certain. CRE ties both the risk and the possible rewards of building new power plants to the companies that will use the resulting energy. This year, New Hampshire passed a law to allow CREUs to generate, transmit, distribute, and sell electricity as long as they operate independently from existing utilities and do not serve the general public. CREUs are still subject to appropriate oversight, such as the Nuclear Regulatory Commission for nuclear plants. Missouri could do something similar, and there are many reasons to do so. Protecting ratepayers from risk. If the projected surge in electricity demands materializes, CRE could help lessen the severity of rate increases by allowing some large customers to be served by independent CREUs. Because these facilities are privately financed and serve only their customers, their costs would not be spread across all ratepayers. If electricity demands fall short of projections, then this excess capacity will have been a poor investment. Number two, accelerating capacity build-out and investment. Missouri needs to build new generation capacity. In a permission-first regulated environment, that process can be slow. Letting CREUs build and operate their own generation facilities can help keep economic development from being constrained by red tape. Further, CREUs can offer more tailored payment structures and allow companies to align their energy sources with their own environmental or strategic goals without forcing all ratepayers to work towards those same goals. Number three, alleviating pressure. Not only does Missouri face new demand growth, but our two largest electric utilities are dealing with coal plant retirements. This transition would be challenging even without a new surge in demand. CREUs would allow utilities to focus more on serving their current customers. CRE could be an ideal response to an abrupt surge in energy demand driven by a narrow set of customers. It would provide price security to everyday ratepayers, give data centers control over their power supply, and decrease the need for governments to predict future energy demand. Data centers are coming, and CRE is worth exploring as a way for Missouri to prepare for them.
From the Springfield Daily Citizen and reporter Zoe McIntyre, Nixa woman accused of impersonating celebrities to scam elderly people. Nixa woman Sarah Mills is charged with felony money laundering, stealing, and conspiracy for allegedly impersonating celebrities to convince elderly people to send her money. According to a probable cause statement, Mills knowingly and repeatedly participated in a scam, depriving the victims of funding totaling $22,350 between April of 2024 and June of 2025. Charging documents allege that one of Mills's victims believed that he was in a relationship and sending money to actress Nicole Colman. Another victim believes she was sending money to Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow to help him get out of his contract with the team. Mills deposited some of the money into her own accounts for personal use while converting other portions of the funds to Bitcoin in furtherance of the scam, according to the probable cause statement. She allegedly worked with other people to collect and convert the funds. Summer Rascal, Director of Communications for the City of Nixa, stated that the Nixa Police Department worked with various agencies in Virginia, New Mexico, Ohio, and South Carolina to investigate the case. The Nixa Police Department issued a press release about the case on December 2nd after Mills was arrested and booked into the Christian County Jail. She was booked on a 24-hour hold. Christian County Sheriff Captain Colton Craig told the Daily Citizen that Mills was released because the sheriff's office did not receive a warrant within the time frame. Christian County Prosecutor Kristen Toohey filed formal charges and a warrant for Mills was issued on December 5th. Her cash-only bond is set at $25,000. Dwindling enrollment of degree-seeking students leads to the MSU budget cuts, according to an article in the Springfield Daily Citizen by Joe Hadsell. Despite a record-setting year of enrollment and a decline in the enrollment of degree-seeking students at Missouri State University has led to shortfalls in its current budget year, which will lead to immediate cuts. President Richard D. Williams and other members of the administrative team said that while there will be budget cuts made during the spring semester, layoffs or program cuts will not be made in response. There are no furloughs or layoffs, Williams said Friday during a town hall meeting for the campus community where he addressed the university's financial planning. At this point, no. We know what we know, and we think that we have predicted correctly. I don't want to mislead you by saying that someday we won't have to do that, but right now, I don't think we do, and we're not. The Friday meeting drew about 200 members of the campus community, mostly faculty members and staff members, to Plaster Student Union Theater. Williams and other members of his administration presented information about the last few months of completion of their strategic budget and legislative priorities for the upcoming session. After almost an hour-long presentation, those administrators answered questions for about 50 minutes on a variety of topics. Much of the meeting was devoted to explaining the university's enrollment picture and how that led to an actual shortfall of more than $3.2 million for summer and fall of 2025 and a projected shortfall of more than $3.9 million for spring 2026. Missouri State in September announced a record-breaking number for enrollment with a total of 27,235 students across its Springfield and West Plain campuses, but that number was inflated by an influx of dual credit students who take MSU classes while attending high school. As we set the year for the fiscal 26 budget, we're basing it upon enrollment projections, Morris said during the meeting. The outcome was it wasn't flat. We're faced with a summer-fall at cessation with shortfalls revenue of $3.2 million. Thank you for listening to the Blind Community Thrift Store reading program. Tune in every Monday through Friday on the Blind Community Thrift Store's YouTube channel at 10 a.m. for more up-to-date news from the Springfield News-Leader, Springfield Daily Citizen, Springfield Business Journal, and 417 Magazine. All broadcasts are played over KSMU subcarrier airwaves 91.1 from 3 to 5 Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio.